Welcome to the Liverpool 12th Man Show of the Liverpool 12th Man. And I am here with the Irishman today. How you doing, Irishman?
Yeah, good. Getting into the Euro 2024 vibe today.
Yeah,
Always a good day for. Well, I know it started last night, but today's the first day I watched it, so can't beat international football. Can't beat it.
very cool, very cool. Yeah, we're getting into the Euros is what we're into right now, I guess. I know that it's you know kind of wild update to announce is that it is already 1-0 in the Albania versus Italy game. And that's Albania won.
Oh my lord.
Yeah,
Um.
mamma
Right.
mia.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Lots of pizza. Pizza been thrown out the window, I'd imagine, and other things.
Yeah,
Uh. Well. Yeah. What's that? Game is only about 5 minutes old. Yeah. That's.
yeah.
Wow.
Scored in the
Okay.
fourth minute of the game. They scored, and that's pretty incredible. I don't know. I'd be interested to see what if that's like one of the quickest Euro goals of the competition because it's
Four. You said four
no
minutes, was it?
scored in the first minute. Excuse me,
Oh well, yeah, 100%. Yeah, deadly. Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely. Uh,
scored in the first minute. So I don't know. Um,
quite the start. Quite the start for the Albanians. Fair
I
play to them.
know. I know. That's a big pick me up for the Albanians, huh? It's
Yeah.
not if you're again. It's not if you're in the Euro
No.
fantasy challenge like some of us are.
Well, yeah.
I'm an Italian
No.
defenseman, so that doesn't exactly help my pursuits one bit.
Hi Bernie. Hi John. Hi Haylor. Good evening.
Yes,
Thanks for coming in. Nice to see you all.
definitely,
Yeah, I
definitely.
have I have an Italian defender as well. So yeah, most of the people that are playing it seriously are going to have one. So don't worry, everyone's in the same boat.
Big
Uh,
up, psychedelic scientists. Psychedelic. Big up to psychedelic scientists. By the way, yesterday helping me out, backing me up a little bit in the I was on the Beijing Reds TV. Shout out to them. And we were, they do a call in, and they have some content creators mixed in with some of the chat, some of the participants of the chat of their chat community. So
you're
yeah,
getting some heat, were you? You getting some heat?
yeah, I was picking up a little heat because I was definitely I was getting a little bit frustrated a little bit with some of the takes and definitely some of that some of that I guess you could say like I don't mind like it's difficult sometimes when you're trying to converse with people and you can have I'm open to having a different opinion or having a different viewpoint, you know, and then I know I saw that Bernie 22 22 or I guess that would be 20 sec that wouldn't even be 20 seconds so 22 it's funny. Um but getting back to us saying is that like yeah we were going back and forth and it's like you can have a different opinion, but like it's when someone is conversing with you and they're like, oh well, you're confused about this, or you're this or that, da da da, or they're just basically saying things that like, oh well, what you don't get, or what's this, and da da da, all these little different things. It's kind of like, no, I get what you're saying, I understand what you're saying. I just have a different viewpoint, or maybe a different opinion. It doesn't mean that my opinion's wrong. It doesn't mean that your opinion, I'm not saying even your opinion's wrong sometimes, but it was a little back and forth. It was because we were trying to get into, and psychedelic scientists can back me up in the chat a little bit about this, where if I get something wrong or get maybe overstate or understate something. But we were discussing basically about Trent Alexander Arnold and um, whether it all kind of like stemmed originally the question was, is Trent a good role model, and is he a good role model as a captain or as a vice captain, which is what his title is currently. And I was trying to explain basically that I believe he is a good role model. I believe that he is a good vice captain, and I believe that he will grow into a eventual full time captain of this club. And one of the bases of why I was saying such is that he provides a viable link to our youth players that are heavily relied upon in this team, and as of late at least, especially with all the injuries and such. And the argument was being made that he is not a good role model because he turns it on and off when he wants to play. It was something to that matter of like he's not engaged, or he has
he's inconsistent.
Yes, they were saying he's inconsistent, and that he just doesn't care. Basically, is what they were saying. Like he doesn't care. He shows no. He doesn't like as in he picks and chooses when he wants to play defense primarily. And
sorry. So he picks and chooses when he wants to defend, or he picks and chooses when he wants to play, as in when he wants to have a good game.
Yeah.
Which are they saying? Because I don't believe
a little bit of both, but they focus more on like I think it was that same narrative that we always hear about, like, oh, he's not a good defender, and he doesn't show, like, sometimes he picks and chooses when he wants to defend. And
I don't think anybody can really pick and choose, can they? Be allowed to. I mean, that's a very odd. I think it's kind of a really lazy statement to say the players pick and choose when it like. I'd love to be able to pick and choose when I played, because I'd choose to be deadly every game.
Right.
It's just not like that. Okay, they're saying maybe what they're saying is like if they're up against a lower team, or we're up against, if we're not really, so if we're playing against Sheffield United at home, or Leeds at home, or Burnley at home, he doesn't really feel like he's going to bother defending that night.
He couldn't be bothered. He couldn't be bothered to play defense.
No, I've said it from day one. He does. I said it from day one. He needs a babysitter. At first, he needed a babysitter, and then he needed a minder. Henderson was his first babysitter. Henderson would always cover for him when he went forward. Henderson would drop in.
Yep.
Now that then became Kanade became his minder. Howie Late, and then he would cover for him when he was going to. Kanade would kind of be covering his space. So we've always made allowances for him in that way, but I don't think anybody, regardless of who, how, what they are, can basically pick and choose when they're going to have a good game, and survive in a Klopp team. I don't think it would have been allowed.
Argument. That was my argument.
No, I don't see that being allowed. This idea that Klopp or the Trent was going to tell Klopp he wanted to play in midfield. Nobody tells Klopp where anybody's playing. Klopp tells you where you play. He may have had an opinion on it, of course, and it may have been discussed. And what do you think about this gaffer? What do you think about that? Yeah. But at the end of the day, Klopp was the one picking the team and deciding where people played. Trent wasn't walking into his office going, "Boss, from Monday morning onwards, I'm in midfield, right? Thanks.
Right.
See you."
Where I'm inverted. I'll be inverted.
That ain't happening. Never happened. Right. So, is he a good role model? Of course, he's a great role model. When was the last time you ever saw a negative story about him? He's come up from the streets of Liverpool. He's made it all the way. As a parent or a child of, I think, is he mixed race or is he black? Is he mixed race? I think he's mixed race. Is he?
I don't know.
Either way,
I don't know if father or if he's
but obviously.
Right.
Yeah,
you really thinks about the game, can't you? He plays chess as well, Trent. So he's into chess, so you can see how being a defender in that position, it would help him to suss out games and that. He was talking about it, not about chess, but about him sussing games out. And I was thinking it tallied with him being a chess player. It makes sense.
Well, would you lead, because the
welcome,
question,
by the way, Lee. Welcome, Lee, by the way, to the
12 Man was making a discussion last night, and the question was, is Trent Alexander-Arnold a good role model?
Right.
I would say he definitely is. I don't know what do you think on that one?
And I can give you a little more context too, like role model, and also it regarding to his captaincy, like as in him being a captain, or at least being a vice captain. Yeah, I mean,
I think Virgil and done well this season because Henderson and Milner left a big void in the captain vice captain role. So it was a tough season in that regard for and he had injuries as well, Trent. But I thought Virgil and Trent done well to step in from the other two leaving and Fabinho leaving as well, and whoever else left, and yeah, there was a bit of a hole, like I suppose, in that sense, wasn't there? Like bringing it onto the pitch and who was going to say what, who's got who's saying what when. Because you did used to hear Milner and Henderson shouting, didn't you? Like,
yeah.
Oh, Hendo never shut up.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that too is that one, I think that there's more certain players lead differently on the pitch, and what it was for me was in this conversation. And again, I know that I'm giving my side. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm trying to be as biased to like just give my side in a heightened or a enlightened viewpoint. But what it basically was, the crux of what we were talking about was that, by the way, I think it's 2-1. Yeah, it's 2-1, by the way, in the Italian game. They've already scored twice against Albania. What it was, the conversation really got a little bit of like, I wouldn't say heated, but it was definitely energized, to say the least, primarily because like there's so much in the pathway of what Trent has gone through to get to the stage he's at. I understand every football player has different adversities that they go through, has different commitments that they have to put towards becoming a great player or becoming onto the team. I was making a mention about there's an actual incredible article I read about like the path and like how in Liverpool particularly, the path of a black footballer isn't exactly the easiest path towards getting the same amount of attention or amount of opportunities per se. And as of late, Liverpool has put a more concerted effort in involving those minority groups in the area, which is really super cool. And it primarily also was the fact that Trent's pathway to being where he's at now. Whenever you hear a youth academy player speak, they always mention Trent Alexander-Arnold. And what I was trying to get across, and this is what I kept saying, like they were missing, at least my point, was that we grew up liking, depending on your age, you grow up liking certain players, or you grow up role modeling. And this is this role modeling, not necessarily that you want to aspire to live their life off the pitch. I'm just saying on the pitch, okay? You have role models that you have out there that are different than the younger generations, because like they don't grow up watching these players play. They don't grow up being connected to the same way that you're connected to them. There's certainly players and youth players or younger generations that definitely, are connected to Stevie G for instance, right? But I would say that if you're, let's say, 20 years old or you're 24 or something like that, you most likely didn't watch him play. You didn't grow with him in his career, So it's like I made the reference of connecting. I made a basketball reference, but I said, hey, growing up, yeah, I might have wanted to be like Michael Jordan, but there's an age of players that didn't use Michael Jordan as the guy that they connected to. They connected to Kobe Bryant, or they might connect to LeBron James now, or they might connect to, I don't know, Kyrie Irving or whoever. It's more of now, like as in there's when you have other generations, you connect with different people. And I said that Trent is a unique situation because these players know that this is a player that has made it through the youth academy and has kind of not to say paved the way, but like has definitely had an ability to connect with them because he is close to their age. They know that they have maybe even possibly played with him at some stage, and I was trying to make that as like, that makes a difference. That makes a difference when you're a player in that locker room, and sure, you might see Virgil van Dijk. He might be technically quote unquote your role model. But I mean, like, there's a difference. Virgil van Dijk is just like, on a pedestal style player. Trent seems like he could be still that accessible one. And I was trying to make that reference. That's why I was trying to make that. That was one of my biggest points. But their pushback was about his play and about, oh, well, he's got a bad quality of turning on and turning off in games. And I said, look, and Barnes went as far as to say he does it many times. There's many times that he's had in this last campaign. There's many times that Trent could seem less bothered, much less like engaged or completely involved in games and such. And I go, I don't think if that was the case, I don't think he would be playing. I don't think Klopp would stand for that. I don't think
definitely.
Klopp, yeah, okay. You're such an incredible talent, such a superstar, and you have such an ego that I have to cater towards it. Klopp wouldn't do that, I don't think.
No, it definitely wasn't Trent's best season. No one's going to say that.
No.
He was in and out. He was injured, inconsistent. But again, if the guys were, well, not the guys, but if there's a big difference between role model and hero. You're save your heroes for don't make sports people your heroes because they'll end up being human just like everyone else and they'll let you down. So look for heroes in other places. That's what I'd always say. But as a role model, I think he's I'd agree with everything you say. A role model is someone that young people can look at and go, if I do what he did, I can be a success. Or if I, not copy him, but if I do all the good things he's done and take on board what he's done, then I can be a success. When it comes to on the pitch, I get you'd have to judge that. You can't just judge that on last season. You've got to judge it on his whole career.
Right.
And look where he's come. Like Nathaniel Klein gets an injury. He comes into the team, and the next season he's a world superstar phenomenon. Putting up ridiculous numbers.
Vice captain, instead of Milner. Now he's vice captain instead of Milner. That's a big thing in his development because he's not a young player anymore. Can't call him a young player anymore. Although it wasn't long ago when he was a young player still.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's been a different thing for him this season, hasn't it? And obviously the captain's changed to Virgil from Hendo.
I think
a lot of change, like you say, Arden, a lot of change in mid with the play, like Miller gone, Henderson gone,
Fabinho as well going.
All these people we played with,
Henderson all at once was quite disruptive, wasn't it? At the beginning,
especially for the older players.
Where's the blend? Trying together, weren't we?
Yeah, I was gonna say Lee too. So, I think one unique thing about this too is. You mentioned Milner, and you mentioned, and I don't think anyone mentioned Hendo, possibly or not, but Henderson and Milner being our former captain and former vice captain. The presence and the techniques that they use to be leaders on this team are somewhat different than the current vice and captain of our team currently. We can all agree on that, I think. But what I was also trying to emphasize is that there's one thing to have the veteran presence, and Trent is certainly a veteran presence in that he has been a part of this club for a while now. Excuse me. But what's unique about Trent and what's unique about Virgil is Virgil is already an established veteran presence, so he can go and have a level platform to speak to a Mo Salah. He can have a level platform to speak to players that are, in that upper age
Certainly
status.
spoke to that referee and VAR team at Wembley who disallowed his first header. After he scored the second one, he said something that can't be repeated on here because it has a few F's in it. Or,
Yeah.
I think we all got. I loved it when I heard that. Try and disallow that one, yeah.
Yeah. But what I was getting at is he can speak to, at least it's kind of like basically, as basic terms as I can put it, he can speak to the older guys, and Trent can have a connection to the younger guys. And like that is a unique circumstance to have with the setup that we have. Before we had two veterans, either Hendo or Milner, that definitely were like, where they had the good cop, bad cop kind of role play that they did in the locker room for dealing with issues and problems, and it's even on the pitch. But I was trying to emphasize that a lot of those features and a lot of those qualities and a lot of different things that Trent has, I think, are positives, benefits, are unique benefits that we get to utilize. And their pushback was, again, their only main emphasis was, oh, well, he picks and chooses when he wants to play. And he
is that a proven
is
scientific fact, is it?
Yeah.
I've never been.
And I try to emphasize that too. That's their opinions. Those are just as their, like, I get it. He did not, and you're right, he did not necessarily have a good season. However, I think the injuries had a heavy impact on him not having a good season. It wasn't like mentally he just didn't, he could be less. He already has his mind set on maybe like going to Real Madrid or something like, or he doesn't want to be here, or he's not interested in really like, putting it out there for the team. I was trying to emphasize that Trent has every intention of being a winner, wanting to win, and he doesn't have. I've never really said to myself, "Oh, well, you know what? I don't think Trent should be here," and that's what they were saying, that he's setting a bad role. He's setting a bad precedent for the younger players to follow for that one concept of his game, which is, in their minds, in their opinions, was, yeah, he could sometimes he looks like he couldn't be bothered, and I disagree.
I've always been a fan of defenders being captains rather than, don't like it when forwards are captains. I don't get it. Defenders can see the whole game, like from the right place. Like forwards have to turn around and that. Like defenders can see a lot. So I'm a fan of a centre back in Virgil and a right back in Trent being the vice captain. I mean, Henderson's role wasn't even very defensive when he was first at Liverpool, was he? Like there was a defensive midfielder behind him, whoever it was at the time. Like, and then he got put there by Klopp, didn't he? Like not long after Klopp come in, Lucas went out the door, didn't he? And Henderson ended up as the 6 until we got Fabinho. I just wish we could have got Fabinho quicker. I wish we could have got Fabinho like a year earlier.
That would have been nice.
Hendo got used wide at the start, yeah. Hendo got used kind of as a right winger attacking midfield.
Galloping up and down the right wing, wasn't he? Galloping up and down, doing the young Hendo shuffle, like up and down the right wing with his head down. But he put some good crosses in, and he scored a few quite good goals. There was a couple of alright assists, like, you know what I mean? And he tried his hardest. Like, he weren't the greatest player we've ever had, but he tried his hardest, and he was a good captain.
No,
he was a good captain, like.
You know what too, and Lee, and I'll let the Irishman go first, then I'll bring you in, Lee, with this part. But I also emphasized, I spoke about the injuries, but I also emphasized, I get that when you watch things, because I know I got called out to try to Barnes tried to call me out on, like, he asked, do I watch the games back? And I'm like, dude, you gotta watch my channel more often, because you know how we do. we watch, we watch the games, and we normally watch the games even a second time. Sometimes even when we lose, which is a hard thing to do, is watch a game back that we lose in. But we used to do, or at least I myself used to do the tactical Tuesdays and do the breakdowns on the players and the play. But I emphasize this as well. I'm like, I get that people can get angry about Trent's efforts in their mind as not being adequate or being to the level they expect for being that right back. That's all opinionated. That's your opinion, and you're more than welcome to have it. But I also emphasize that can't you weigh in the fact that the system has a very big part in what you are initially thinking should be what a right back should be doing? But yet, because this system had him playing inverted, because it had him playing so high up the pitch, because just the Irishman spoke on, we used to have Hendo filling this role. Now we have, like helping out with the defensive structure. Now we have Konate or Kwanzaa or whoever's playing in that right center back position, being emphasized to have to, cover at times. Sometimes, like, there's things where you might get caught cheating, in the sense of you might be saying, maybe Trent thinks, Konate should be able to handle that. If I kind of cheat a little bit to kind of get this little extra step, because I believe in Konate's ability to handle that could create that little half step could make the difference in creating a break for us, and getting us on the front foot and getting a real opportunity. What might seem like he is not necessarily trying could be just a circumstance of system. Do you disagree with that, Irishman, or is that maybe something that you do agree with?
I think as long as he's not playing as a right fullback, attacking fullback, or maybe in some kind of right wing back hybrid or wide, more orthodox role, but then there's a problem. There's always a problem. That's my thing with Trent. That's always been my line about Trent. He's a solution and he's a problem, because he requires, as a chess player himself, he requires kind of 2 or 3 moves. You can't just pop him into where Szoboszlai plays. You can't just put him in here. It all has to be kind of built to function around him. So I don't like him in midfield. I don't like him, this talk of him playing deeper into midfield as number 10. I think his best attributes are long passing from deep, and he can't do that in the middle of the park. You can't do that for number 10. You're too close to the goal. That takes that out of your armory. His crossing is world class. He never crosses the ball anymore. So in midfield, you're asked to play a very different game. You're able to control the tempo, short passing, under pressure. Look at Kovacic today, the way he got away from 3 Spain players like they weren't even nothing. That's what you have to be able to do in that role. Take the ball on under pressure. That's not Trent's game, I don't think. It's long passing, it's vision, it's stuff from deep. So I just don't like the whole Trent in midfield thing, unless when there's a game opens up in front of him and he's in a deep position. So I think because of all of that, 100% he's going to be sitting there in certain games, he's going to get caught out defensively. And we don't know what his instructions are. We don't know what he's been told. But when he is being asked to go in there and be attacking, I think it does basically say to him, you don't have to defend, or you always have to defend your zone. If you're in an area and something's happening, it's your job to defend it. Right. It's if you're standing there and something's happening, you can't say, I'm not going to tackle that guy because it's not my job to play left back. It's like, no, that's what Klopp has always said. You attack the zone you're in, you attack the space you're in, and you defend the space you're in, no matter which player you are. So, but I'd agree that it's hard to kind of pin like defensive stuff on him too much last season when you're playing in an attacking role. I mean, I think we kind of cut the cord and said, look, we're just going to give him freedom.
Right.
I think it's more on us. Yeah, there's more. It's on the system. Yeah, it's not. And look, it's his attitude. Look, he's a chilled guy. He's a laid back dude. He's all that stuff. People, some people don't like that. Some people want to see guys get angry and get what people don't like the way he seems. Yeah, to kind of not give a shit, but in the best kind of not give a shit way. Not that he doesn't care, but just he
Mhm.
sometimes, yeah, his demeanor on the pitch isn't. He's not Joey Barton. He's not going around screaming at people. He's
Yeah,
Trent. He's chilled. That's just him. He's chilled. It takes a lot to get him riled up, and
yeah,
sometimes people kind of look at that as not caring. Yeah, and I don't see it like that at all. I just think he's the guy's just a really just chill guy, and it takes a lot to get him wound up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, what else is that? Do you have anything you want to add to Lee? By the way.
I think playing in midfield and playing inverted and that like will do him good. Going back to it as a on a flat back four, right back. I think in the future I'd like to see him just playing a flat back four again. I'd like slot
Yeah,
to a band and the inverted thing. I know it was new and fancy, and everyone went, "Look how clever Guardiola is! He's done this now." But I just found it annoying from the start. It was a bit lopsided for us, and that like it didn't really hit the heights for us. I thought, like, I just prefer this for the flat back four of us anyway.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I'm not all on board on him being in the midfield. I don't think that it's a great move.
He's too many
Um,
goals last 2 seasons. Like, and we did all right this season, but the amount of goals we conceded was a piss take, wasn't it? Like, it was just we couldn't keep a clean sheet for love nor money.
right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the biggest. I think the biggest disappointment is like this year has been an emphasis in my mind as being or and more not an emphasis, more like a highlighter on on its scapegoat. I call it scapegoat FC. Throughout the entire year, there's always been one player that, or at least if not multiple, but at least one player that always gets put out as being like the scapegoat as to, oh well, we're losing because this player is crap, or this player can't play, or this
No,
player is
there's
not
11
offering
in
this
a
and that.
team. There's 11 in a team, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, the
that's where
thing
I'm at
this
too.
season, like I just felt the system wasn't doing it like,
no,
uh, and especially like when the season fell apart. I don't know why he persisted with it. Like when it was clear we were going to finish no higher than third and no lower than third, he kept on playing inverted. There was like, why? What's the
Yeah,
point? Is there a
do
yeah,
you know
reason?
what? Do you know what I like in it too? And this is just really just call me silly or whatever, but I'm like imagine like it's like Klopp and Pep are like a married couple, and it's like Pep wants Klopp to go out wearing all these like she's gone out and got him some like fancy new kind of more modern clothes, and it's like, no, I want you to wear these Klopp's. I don't really want to wear them. They're not really me. She's like, no, you look great in them. You look great in them. They're like, for people like 10 years younger than him, and he's like, they're a bit, whatever. And he goes out wearing them. He's like, I don't really like wearing these. He's like, no, you look great. You look great. I love it. But he's just not comfortable with it. I just feel
right.
that that's like that inverted thing was like Pep just wanting to impose his way of doing things, and Klopp like trying to do it and go along with it. Oh yeah, well, cool. I'm cool with this. Yeah, this is good. But it just wasn't him. Like that
Mhm,
whole like control and stuff. It's just you can tell he just wanted to go and put on his old jeans and his hoodie and play old style football.
mhm,
And just take off the skinny jeans and the whatever. It's
Mhm.
just like this isn't me. I want to go back to me. It's just I just thought that most of that tactical stuff is coming down, as Klopp will always say, through the innovations of his coaching staff. A lot of it is coming from Pep, and he's implementing it. He's involved in it. Obviously, I'm not saying he gets told what to do, but I just don't ever that way of playing football, that kind of inverted, very tactical, very kind of modern. Isn't really. I'm not saying Klopp isn't a modern coach, but it doesn't really doesn't look like Klopp to me.
mhm, mhm.
And I think he would have preferred to play a more open, That's why I see him at Real Madrid, by the way, being able to play in a more kind of like just get the best players out there, get them, let them go and attack, let them do that kind of thing. Yeah, not overthink it and be super tactical.
Their pulling power and ability to have any player in existence, and half the time for no fee whatsoever, he'd be amazing, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I just don't think that felt like Klopp football to me. It just felt like a younger brand of modern football that maybe I think that's where we fell down last season. That was what I saw with my eyes. I don't know what anybody else saw, but that's what I saw was.
You know what I think? If Klopp, in the period he's been here, like Guardiola's been at City almost the entire period Klopp was here, save for a few months. If he'd had the same money in the period, I think we'd have wiped the floor with them. Like, he might have won one or two things, but I don't think he'd have been winning the league much if Klopp could have spent like Guardiola could have when Guardiola arrived, like spending 120 million on a pair of fullbacks. And that's what our front three cost. If Klopp could have spent like that. But I mean, it's all.
Yeah, he spent a lot.
I think Klopp was. I was saying Guardiola's the best coach. All right, he is the best coach. He's won the league 6 times in 7 years. But there is a reason.
Yeah, if we could have been able, I'm kind of in the camp. It's like happy with the lads, the owners, the way it's been run. Happy with all that, but always would have liked if we could have just had that extra. Just had that extra piece once or twice. Like, say, just had we been able to go out and buy a Gavardiol when it was on the table, not like do that twice a season, every season, but say, and maybe 2 years ago, whoever it might have been, just go out and get one extra guy, like that extra one kind of expensive player. But, that's just the way it is.
When I was a kid, where one team had more money than everyone else, like, really, and everyone just had roughly same-ish, and it wasn't loads. Like when we used to buy players when I was a kid, it was like a lot of time it was under £1 million or something. Like when I was like a boy, and there was no like big transfer fees, and like there was no rich clubs like with rich owners. It was just like United had a good few, but they could always buy good players, but whether they could make them work on the pitch was a different matter.
But back in those days, it was just how big your ground was. If you could get 40,000 people in every second week, and if that was really all it came down to. There was none of this marketing, commercial stuff. It was basically the people paying to get in. So the team with the biggest ground that was successful would have a little bit more money. But yeah, there was no one out there with like 100 times more money than someone else.
No subscriptions, nothing. I mean, you do pay a TV license because you used to watch it on BBC and ITV. But it'd be one match a week. No, you got more most weeks, but like it was generally just one match a week. They'd pick from, and you'd see a match from Division 1 as well, like the Championship. But like, that's what I grew up seeing, like just in the old TV days.
I also thought one unique thing. I put the stat in the chat when we were speaking in not this chat, in the discussion yesterday, but it wasn't included in the conversation. I didn't get an opportunity to really circle back and bring it up because I brought a couple different stats up. But and it is unique because people will often say, oh well, they'll use things that are either objective or subjective, and also when you try to bring in the stats portions of it, they'll also say, oh well, I don't want to hear about stats, so I don't want to hear about those things. So I'm like, well, that's a hard fact, like as in there are things that you can utilize in the conversation to at least back up your opinion, to say, okay, well, this is, and I know stats can be manipulated to sometimes bring different
goals aren't stats. Like if someone says he scored 30 goals last season, don't bring up stats. Those aren't stats. Those are facts. Yeah.
Right.
Stuff like that. Right. It's just like when you start talking about, oh, well, he has a better percentage of ground duels or progress. Yeah, some people don't want to hear about it. But if you say, no, dude scored 30 goals last season, that's just a fact.
Right. Right.
People are like, numbers, those numbers don't lie. Those that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And that's the thing about like last year, for instance, the last man, the statistic of last man tackle. That's or tackle by the last man. There's the person that had the most tackles by the last man was Trent Alexander-Arnold, and that's awesome. Often because he is the man that's busting his butt to get back. Most likely from an advanced position. Go ahead. What'd you say, Lee?
It makes sense that he would be the one with the most last man tackles or whatever you're gonna call them. At the back. Yeah, from coming back. I just felt like this season. I hope it was just an experiment, like in the LFC seems to follow Pep Guardiola's formation exactly. You didn't used to get that as much years ago, where formations would be followed. Teams just employed whatever one they usually employed, like, and didn't take any notice of what other teams did formation wise.
What's your favorite? And people in the chat, what's your favorite formation? Like, just what's
or like with one of the forwards just behind, like in the 2, say, so a 4, whatever.
4-4-1-1.
Yeah, 4-4-1-1 is a good one. I like that. Nice and solid.
I've actually readjusted my frame of thinking and have now centered more on the 4-4-2, especially with a lot of the games that we've been watching on the throwbacks and such, and seeing us in that 4-4-2 formation. I've started to gravitate a little bit more towards that, in that concept of maybe just having those two, albeit I know they are more centrally located, but it could create a natural box, if necessary, while still preserving the two forwards as being a pressing source, and I like the 4-4-2. I like the 4-4-2.
It will come back.
Yeah,
everything comes back. Well, no, I'd still say eventually something like in 50 years, because look at where football tactics were 50 years ago, and look at where they are now. So what will they? I know there's only so many things you can do on a pitch, but things will come back around. But for me, I think it has to be 4-2-3-1.
That's what I like the sound of. 4-2-3-1. So we'd have say McAllister and Endo as the 2, and then in front of them you have Bosley, whichever wingers you want either side, and whoever you have up front. I like the sound of that. Or Bajcetic can play in there, can't he? Like Bajcetic and McAllister, Bajcetic and Endo.
Because I like that. Yeah, I like that because, and this is back in the day. It's not like.
I think we lost the Irishman.
Well, McAllister
lost his audio. I was
playing the 6 quite a bit last season, and he so him playing.
Is everyone frozen?
No, you're good. You're back.
Oh, it's back. Okay, yeah, no, just because back in the day, like it wouldn't work now. But with the 4-2-3-1 back in the day, that meant you get like a kind of Alonso type in the 2, like a deep line quarterback type player, which I really like. But you also gives you a number 10. You can play with a number 10 then as well. But after that, definitely 4-4-2, 2 wingers, 2 strikers, brilliant.
We could have like Endo and Bajcetic in there and McAllister in the 10. Even if you didn't want to use the Bosley, like you could have like Diaz and Nunes either side, Jota up front or Nunes up front.
I wouldn't mind seeing Bajcetic go on loan this year. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. Especially after he missed the whole season. I know he missed the whole season. I think he needs a bit. Yeah, if there's a space for him, like I love the kid. I was really hoping to see him play a lot with Thiago. And
he'd be a good player if it works out.
Yeah.
You've got to get him in the team, mate. I don't want to see him go anywhere. There's loads of players before him. I'd rather see go on loan. Sorry, not on leave, on loan.
I just wouldn't mind a season-long loan in Spain or potentially Holland or something. If he was only going to be getting bare minutes, I'd rather see him go. But if you told me he was going to be in the team, I'd be all for it. But I wouldn't want him to because considering he missed all last season, if he's not going to be playing regularly, that'll be kind of 2 years doing nothing, and the next thing you know, it's 3 years. So I'd like to see him. But yeah, he's one of my
Football played next
favorite
season,
young
though.
players. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you.
Games.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Well,
If he's going to play, keep him. Yeah, if he's going to play, keep him. Definitely.
yeah,
I was,
I mean, you can always let them go out for a short period. You don't have to go on loan for a very
Yeah.
long time, do you?
yeah. Mhm.
Oh,
No, it could be a short loan. It could be like a loan to like January or something like that, just for him to get his form, just for him to get, obviously some first team appearances for another club and obviously a
I
different
mean, I'd
league.
loan him if I was going to loan him, I'd loan him to another Premier League club. So he's
Oh,
playing
okay.
in the
Okay.
Premier League,
yeah.
start
There's
in the Premier League in midfield, and then we bring him
yeah.
back here once he's already played a load of Premier League games. And say, yeah, you do it here as well. Then
That's
Dude,
the only issue about that is it can be a little bit difficult to get that to work because you got to have a team that doesn't have any aspirations on that player possibly being a part of the club, because it's like not many teams are going to say, okay, yeah, we want to be your
lower clubs
pet project.
round off the bigger ones for loans, like. I mean, Conor Gallagher done all right at Palace, didn't he? Like, he went off on Foden went off on loan, bloody Mason Mount went off on loan, and all this, all them players, like, you know what I mean? So, I would want him to be loaned to a Premier League club, not even a Championship club. Really. I'd like him to, if he was going to be on loan, playing at a lower level in the Premier League with someone like bloody, I don't know, this year's equivalent of Luton or something. Even if like it's in a really, and then he's going to really have to dig in, isn't he? Like playing in a team like that.
Yeah, Bernadette was. I think she's offering out Burnley as a team, possibly for some of the players to possibly go and get a little bit of a run of a loan run. I wanted to circle back real quick too, though. I did want to put an asterisk on. I do like a 4-4. I have been gravitating towards a 4-4-2, but I also, when it comes to the shape of it, I like it. I like a team. I like something of what I've seen Pep bring into the philosophy of this club. Now, I don't know if Slot's going to continue this philosophy going forward. I don't know if Edwards is looking to bring in more players that fit the role that I'm about to mention. But I like teams with fluidity, in that I do like a team that it doesn't matter if he's on the right wing or if he's on the left wing or if he's central, or maybe vice versa, or if you're dealing with the midfield, if it's on the right, left, central, as in it's just a matter of having what I call like an amoeba formation. And what I mean by amoeba formation, being able to, especially if you're going to have an inverted position player, being able to create sometimes a midfield that has or back line that has three, and having a midfield that has four players, creating a box in the middle, and then also having a front three, or if necessary, bringing back an actual player from that front line, creating not only a box but a pentagon, if anything, around a player so that they can converge, and there's different angles and options from that pressure in that midfield so that you can control the midfield and quickly turn it into offense for your club. I like those kinds of things. I like it, and also if you're going to have those kinds of formations, or you're going to have that kind of philosophy for your club, it also means that you're most likely going to have a more open and allow more creativity when it comes to the players being able to roam and do things that don't necessarily stick them in these rigid rigid ideas of where they had to be in a formation.
Well, you want to bring in Denise. You want to bring in the relationism style football that they're talking about, that they're using now in South America to get away from what's been happening in Europe, which is basically when we have the ball, you stand there. When he passes it, you stand there. You walk there. That's what Pep does. It's basically like you see Doku now. You see him dribbling with the ball and beating players. Every year you'll see his dribbling statistics go down under Pep. Every year, the amount of players he beats will go down because it'll be pass, move, pass, move. And you see Pep out on the training pitch, literally like grabbing a player by the shoulders, like a guy that's won World Cups, and like stopping a game and moving him 2 feet to the left, going, no, 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 you need to be standing here. Like that's, I mean, this is robotics kind of stuff. So what the Brazilian guys, like what you're talking about, that relationism football is where, yeah, you have groups of players that move around the pitch together, and that you form those little relations between those three players in that whatever area, whatever players they are, and people can be free to move everywhere. That's
Right.
what I love. That's what I want to see coming back. Is like this hyper controlled, hyper coaching of players being told where to run, what to do, like where to pass it, like all that creativity and individuality has been taken out of those players at the top level. And all these guys, the companies are copying Guardiola. So I'd love to see any formation that brings back freedom and creativity and challenges this, because what we're watching at the moment is people talk about how boring Guardiola or how boring City are to watch. Like people say, yeah, they beat him 4-0, but people don't like watching it. It's not good fun to watch. But like you're saying, Slosh apparently plays. I don't know. Look, they all play this.
No, you're right. No, Bernie's backing up what you're saying.
Slot
studies Pep's tactics and Real Madrid's tactics.
I mean, yeah, it's. I don't know. Look, he's going to do his own thing, but
there you go. I like that.
Football.
Yeah.
Mate, I just want him to go. I just want Guardiola to go. I yearn for the day when
yes,
first news I hear heralds these words. Guardiola leaves City. I can't wait to put the telly on or my computer on and see that. And see a picture of him looking behind himself or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I just want him to go now. I'm tired of him. And I liked his rivalry with Klopp, and it was a good rivalry and that, but we know they're cheats and everything now, and I'm just tired of him. I'm tired of the way he plays football and its influence on the Premier League and other teams and all his shenanigans like with footy and that. I'm bored of them. We've seen it now, Pep. You can go somewhere else and do it. We've seen it now.
Exactly. We've seen it. You've done it all. Just go wherever.
The FA not getting this case against Man City going until halfway through next season, so we've got to have them bloody next season as well now before they even start the case.
November.
This the 115 case is not going to be adjudicated until November, late October, November. So that means we will be well into the season. It also means that I think truly what it could mean, and it doesn't mean that it's going to, who knows how long the case will end up taking. There is a difference.
115 years from now. It's 2024 now. What year will it be in 115 years?
Yeah.
2139.
Yeah.
I think it's
2139. Yep. Yeah. What I was going to get at was, that case isn't going to be adjudicated until to October, November, but it'll still, who knows how long it'll take, whether, they're going to appeal the most likely they'll appeal the ruling. I don't know if they can or can't. I'd have to double check on that. I think that they possibly can't appeal it because it's a little bit of a different format. It's not like a.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be okay. You can appeal everything. You'll be able to appeal it and then appeal the appeal.
Well, last time that's what happened with UEFA is that UEFA did have a decision. They had a decision against them, and the CAS judgment was an appeal judgment. So so that was a little bit different because I know that this 115 allegation charges can't go to CAS, for instance. And I also know that this current case that they have currently going on about the APT issue isn't a actual court case. It's like they're sitting in front of a judge. It's an arbitrator So they're in some hotel, most likely sitting in some boardroom with a couple, arbitrator, whoever's the arbitrator.
In the year 2139, don't forget.
There you
When
go.
the case is finally settled, Judge Dredd, it'll be Judge Dredd in the year 2139 with a bloody big gun, helmet on and that. We'll get you out, City.
Yeah. I'm trying to read what Bernie's pet peeve was. She says her pet peeve is she hates that our club has been letting the opposition crowd the box and us trying to score a goal through the eye of a needle. It's frustrating. Yeah, we've spoken on that about some other episodes about, in swinging versus out swinging corners, or our defensive measures against set pieces, whether it's from a corner or an actual foul or that kind of set piece. For a
I did
team
some numbers on that, by the way. I did a check on that. I know I did the numbers before, but I know this is last season. But just for context, from corners, rough numbers. 90% of Arsenal corners were in swingers. 90% of Liverpool corners were out swingers.
Huh. Wow.
So they have a very definite way of what they do, and we have a very definite way of what we do.
That's an interesting stat. I didn't know that. That's a very interesting stat. Maybe you think maybe get a little 50-50 on it,
Maybe.
just to keep people guessing, because if 90%, unless you are incredibly accurate and incredibly successful with that, type of approach, I would think that you'd want to keep teams guessing the same way Bernie was just saying. I think that would be a way forward, because then, just as the Ancelotti very popular quote is, it definitely makes you a lot more predictable and easier to prepare for, if they know that, oh, okay, Liverpool has a set piece or they have a corner, prepare for an outswinging corner kick.
All right, Daryl.
Hey, Daryl. Big up. Big up, Mark, too, by the way.
Yeah, Bernie saying, I'm talking about running with the ball, and then so yeah. I think we saw Salah do, like, how many times, like, no one's sitting here saying Salah is the player he was, still an awesome player, but how many times recently, do we see Salah just running into a box full of players and nothing happening? Like, it is frustrating that we try and force that thing of beating 2 or 3 men in a box. It's not incisive enough.
I just hope that Slot's style is not radically different to Klopp's, but significantly different in it, that it just looks a bit different the way we play and go about things. That 100%. I hope Slot's happy enough to win 1-0 away from home, as often as it demands. You know what I mean? As long as we go away from home and win games, I'm not looking for us to tan teams when we go away. As long as we win, we can tan them at home. I just want us to be solid and stop conceding stupid goals, because there's nothing more dispiriting than going behind to some really inept goal. Yeah, the number of mistakes we made towards the end of this season was bad. That one at Arsenal between Virgil and Alisson. I mean, and there was
Wolves, Burnley, Sheffield United. So many goals.
Yeah. Big up Revenite, by the way, joining us.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. I haven't seen Revenite.
Wow, yeah. Hope your fitness, your road to better fitness and health is progressing well.
Your journey to the stars.
Journey to the stars. Yes, certainly. I guess Chiesa is cooking tonight. in that Italian matchup. Still 2-1. Barella and Bastoni are the 2 goal scorers for Italy so far.
Told you, didn't we? We told you, Bastone.
Yeah,
Bastone.
yeah. The one crappy thing about Euros being now and us being in this summer window is that a lot of these players, if they are involved, either in Copa or Euros, is that there might have been you hear that the Fat Joe, today's price is not yesterday's price. That like there will be players that go into this competition that might have had a price set at one number, but certainly coming out of this tournament, it might most likely be set at another price tag being put on them. Bastoni might be one of those players. He's an excellent player.
And as we mentioned the other day, he's on a huge contract.
Yeah.
He's on huge money.
Yeah.
I was shocked to find out he's on nearly 300K.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's very surprising because not many Italian players are on those kinds of contracts.
No.
Go ahead.
Always, yeah, aftermath of big tournaments, like players' prices go up when they've had a good tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's there watching, aren't they? Like, at the World Cup and at the Euros, at the Copa America and the other ones and that. Like, it's just the way it is, isn't it? Like, everyone's watching. So if you stand out like at an international tournament, you got a good chance of a move, haven't you? You have a good tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So go through a quick rundown on Europe. As I said earlier today, Spain took out Croatia 3-0. Switzerland absolutely handled Hungary 3-1. And now, as I said earlier, we're still in the first half, coming close to halftime. It's 2-1 in that Italian versus Albania matchup in Group B. The other Hungary-Switzerland game was Group A.
Yeah.
In that Hungary games versus Switzerland, I watched a little bit of it. I know Switzerland did have obviously the 3-1. Had the goals pretty spread out too. I mean, they scored in the beginning of the game, established a 1-0 lead. Then right before halftime, scored the second goal. Then you saw a different Hungary team in that second half, and they, with the pressure and with their gameplay, they ended up scoring a goal, making it 2-1, making a game, and then Switzerland at the very end pushed out and had a 3-1 victory. But
Switzerland are always reasonable because they've always got a decent enough pool of talent, like Switzerland, to get a decent national side. In the modern era anyway, like a lot of theirs are from the Balkans and that, like they came in the Balkans war, like Eastern Europeans, going to Switzerland, like after the Balkan wars, like former Yugoslavs and that, and they got loads of good players that way, and just like there's all sorts of players in the Switzerland team, isn't there? But I don't remember Switzerland being a good team before, like all that stuff. When it was just the Swiss themselves, I don't remember them ever having a good team.
Right. Let's see too. I don't think.
Yeah, I was watching that game. On keeping an eye on Szoboszlai. Switzerland were totally dominant, and then it got to halftime, and whatever they said, Hungary came out, and for about maybe 15 minutes, they looked like they had something in them, and they were going to try and come back, but mistakes in the end. Like the Carquez made a mistake for the second goal, I think. And Willie Orban, the guy who plays left back for Palace, great player, really good attacking fullback. The third one, the header, the defender made a mistake again, handed Brelin Bolo the chance. It was very like Switzerland were really, really dominant, but they nearly threw it away. You know,
Mhm.
they did nearly give Hungary a chance to get back into it, but they were dominant. Yeah, they are. Like Leah's saying, they've got like Xhaka was running the show.
Remember they had Murat Yakin, Switzerland's front. Murat Yakin.
Well, Murat Yakin, he was the central defender. He's the manager now. Hakan Yakin was his brother. He was the guy he scored against us when he was playing with Basel.
Yeah.
Murat Yakin is the manager now.
I always say Ball for some reason for Basel, Ball. But oh god, that was a nightmare when they done us like back in the
they really did us.
Was it Houllier days, wasn't it, when they done us? Ball. It was just before, not long before they knocked us out of Europe, like the season before or something. Bloody Ball in the Champions League, like we lost that and we didn't get out the group or something. It was terrible. It was woeful. But that's what Ball means to me, anyway. That or Basel, whichever way you want to put it. That's what I think of. Then.
I always say Basel. Yeah, it probably is Basel. I mean, it's in Swiss, for God's sake. They definitely don't say Basel. You know, like
yeah.
But yeah, they are a really strong team. They've got a few issues, lack of quality in certain areas, but yeah, I watched all of the Spain game, and I watched all of the Switzerland game. I haven't seen this one, but Spain look good. But yeah, Switzerland, they play like that, probably do decent. Yeah, probably. But Hungary, Szoboszlai didn't really get much. Like he got the assist.
One for Switzerland.
He got the assist.
Yeah. Other than that, he didn't really get into the game. Like Hungary didn't get into the game, to be honest. Really.
Hungary didn't get into the game. Yeah, I was going to say, if you listen to the stats, I was going to read out Dominic's stats. He was 1 for 1 for his dribble attempts. Obviously had the assist that you just mentioned, played a full 90, was 34 out of 39 when it came to his passing, 2 key passes, 3 out of 4 for his crossing, 5 out of 6 for his long balls, created 2 big chances created were a result from him. 4 for 4 for ground duels, was 0 for 1 for his aerial duels. Lost the ball 10 times, was fouled twice, had 3 clearances, 1 blocked shot, and 1 tackle.
Switzerland still got
it sounds like a solid stat sheet, to be honest with you, but
it does. But if you watch the game,
it wasn't. But it wasn't.
He wasn't in the
game. He wasn't involved. Yeah, and I think that's because Hungary wasn't involved in the game.
Yeah, he got like one. Like it was like there was 15 minutes after halftime where they looked like they were trying to get back into it, and then they just kind of fell away because. Yeah, Switzerland are a good side. Like you wouldn't. It's not like you'd back them to win it, but you wouldn't want to have to play against them.
Right.
You know.
Last time I watched Switzerland, their main man was George. I think his name is George. Yeah, up front, like I don't know, Serbian or whatever, Croatian or something. Was he thingy, and like he was their main man up front, and that's what improved. Switzerland having players come in to the country, outside the country, because I don't remember Switzerland ever having a good football team before those days. You know what I mean?
Well, no, they didn't. Basically, they didn't really. Like you look at Breland Bolo coming on, like he was supposed to be the next great player. Like he got a bad injury there a year ago, but he's come back. He comes off the bench today and he scores like he was scoring at the Euros 4 years ago. He's only about 18 then, and he's obviously like West African, you know, Niger, like he's the child of immigrants clearly. Xhaka, like that's why Xhaka and Shaqiri got in trouble at the last thing was by making the symbol that was supporting Kosovo, which was why I don't know if anybody remembers a couple of years ago we were playing an away game in Serbia, I think it was, and the pro-Kosovo gesture that he made was basically with enraged Serbian. I'm sure it's Serbia, but correct me if I'm wrong. But we then were playing in that country, in the Champions League, and we left
Yeah,
Shaqiri
I
at
remember,
home.
remember
Yeah,
that.
we left Shaqiri at home because it was a security risk bringing him there.
Yeah.
And that's where because they're Kosovo. Like Shaqiri plays for Switzerland, but yeah, they're Kosovo heritage and stuff. So yeah,
Albanian Kosovans, isn't
Albania,
it?
Kosovo, and all that. Yeah. So when we went to go over to play there, we decided to leave Shaqiri at home because that's how much of a controversy that stirred up.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a flashpoint that, like, innit? Can't be having that around football. So it was the best thing to do.
Well,
Yeah,
tomorrow.
awful.
Go ahead.
No, just saying awful news. The shocking news today. The two footballers, Kevin Campbell, Kevin Campbell, and that young goalkeeper at Millwall. It's just
the Millwall, the Millwall keeper passed away from illness. Apparently, says, however, the exact cause of death is still under investigation. Though,
doesn't matter.
It's just still. However happens, it's awful. Either way, that you gone so soon at that age. Thoughts and prayers out to his family and loved ones. What I was going to bring up is tomorrow is a big day. Tomorrow's a very big day for Europe, or big days for Europe, excuse me. Big day for England in Europe. They will be facing off against Serbia. There are, I think there should be a heightened attention to this game, considering the little bit of issues that they had against, I believe it was Iceland, that they ended up losing against 1-0 recently. And obviously there's a lot of pressure going into this competition for England. I'm not saying that Serbia is necessarily the favorites in this matchup. I think England is certainly the favorites in this upcoming matchup. But they do have Mitrovic, and they have Vlahovic, I believe is his name, right?
Vlahovic, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The guy at Juve.
No, it's Vlahovic. Vlahovic. Okay.
Vlahovic, yeah, Vlahovic. 80 million quid Juve paid for him.
Yeah.
Is Mitrovic in Saudi now? Did he leave for Saudi, Mitrovic? Yeah.
He did.
He did. But he's still getting the call up. And they do have a player. That last summer I had him as a player I was interested in looking into. A player I think is really well talented. Young player. He ends up he plays for Fulham, I believe now. And that is Sasha Lukic.
Yeah, we ain't that's done good because only thingy and it didn't work out. Lazar Markovic, but he's the only stable we've ever had, Lazar Markovic. We had Croatians that have worked out like him, and the moves. Well, Igor Biscan. Do you know what I mean? But it didn't work for Lazar Markovic.
What do you guys have? Big up. Norm is in the house. Big up to Norm.
Yeah, big up, Norm.
Lovren.
I see the comment there.
Lovren and Biscan, their careers did take off at Liverpool, but Lazar Markovic, it just didn't happen under Brendan Rodgers, did it?
He didn't have the talent.
He was quite a bought 30 million, I think. 30 million, Lazar Markovic.
Well, it was 20, but that was when 20 was.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah. That's
probably
too mad.
40.
Yeah, but it was a lot.
In today's money. In today's money, that 20 is 50, 40, 45, definitely.
At least,
it was a hell of a lot of money for us. A lot of money for us. And he did. I mean, he even ended up at Hull. He went everywhere. I mean, that guy, I don't know what happened to him, but.
Oh, mate, he looked good as well. He played really well before we bought him for Benfica, was
Partizan
it?
Belgrade. Partizan Belgrade is where we got him from. He ended up going to Benfica at some stage.
That's where we bought him. We bought him from Portugal.
Did he go?
That's why
Did
he
he go
got the
straight for it? I thought he definitely ended up back there.
Portugal Markovic, yeah, from Benfica. I remember quite clearly it was Benfica we bought him from for 20 million. But he scored a couple of good goals, but he got sent off as well, hilariously. Like it wasn't like a bad sending off, it was like a daft one. But
he played for Fulham as well, didn't he? He kind of had. He was just okay, but he never. Yeah, what we thought we were getting, but that's what happens when you buy a 20-year-old kid and you bring him to a huge club.
Yeah, 20, wasn't he? It's a shame he wasn't maybe a couple of years older. I think it was him being 20 that made
too much pressure.
Hard. Yeah, that's especially hard for a 20-year-old.
Yes, I'm just clarifying it for Bernie. She's asking who Norm was. Norm is a very valued red in Kirkshire, as in like a supporter of the channel. And he is using his wife's YouTube. That's why it says Ann on there, but that is Norm, just so you know. But yes, what are you looking at? What are you foreseeing England play tomorrow in? Do you think they're going to go with 4-2-3-1 and use Trent in that holding role, or do you think that they'll be more conservative? Lee, what do you think they're going to come out in?
I don't know, actually. I haven't really thought about it that much, like what sort of lineup it's going to be for England. What do you reckon?
I reckon he'll go with a 3 in the middle. He's got to attack Serbia. He's got to come out of it.
Is Rice and Bellingham fit? Both of them fit, Rice and Bellingham. What about Mount and all these ones?
No, it's going to be. It's going to be Rice and Bellingham and one of Mount's not there.
Mount's not there, yeah.
It's going to be no Grealish isn't there. It'll probably be Trent, Rice, and Bellingham in midfield. I think that's what he'll experiment with. He might lose his nerve and go with something a bit more secure. But I think he'll go with a back 4. Then he'll have Harry Kane, Saka, and Phil Foden up front. Bellingham in behind, and Trent and Rice deep. Play Trippier left back, Walker right back, and depending on the fitness, I'm not sure if Stones is fit. He'll play. And then
I don't think Stones is doubtful for tomorrow. I'll tell you right now, Luke Shaw is out. Stones is doubtful, and even Saka is doubtful for tomorrow.
Oh, he's okay. Well,
it's doubtful. Doubtful meaning there's a chance he will play out. Meaning he's not playing. That's why.
Gahey and Duffy then potentially as their centre half pairing, or Dunk, not Duffy. Dunk, right?
Dunk, yes.
I reckon they could have Mitrovic and the other fella. What was I going to say then?
Otherwise, your man Brantwaite, isn't it?
Yeah. So Luke Shaw's definitely out, and Trippier is likely to play left back, is he? With no Luke Shaw.
Play left. Yeah, he'll play left back.
Yeah, he played left wing back, didn't he, in Russia 2018 when we got to the semi?
Yeah, he's done it loads of times. He's played left loads of times. Yeah.
So again, let's run through it real quick again. What's your formation and what are the players that you see lining up in that formation? Obviously, Pickford be starting goalkeeper.
Yeah.
You're going with a 4-2-3-1.
4-3-3 with a Walker.
Oh, you're going for 4-3-3. Okay.
Walker, Gahey, Dunk, Trippier, Trent, Rice, Bellingham, Foden, Kane, and Saka. The fitness dependent, obviously.
Depending on, obviously, yeah. Daryl has it as Pickford, Walker, Kanza, Trippier, Rice, Bellingham, Trent, Palmer, Foden, and Kane. Okay.
Yeah, he could definitely start Palmer. Definitely.
Yeah. Cole Palmer is definitely someone that is a threat, and is certainly looking for these Euros to make a breakout. I mean, I get that the word breakout, because I used the word breakout for possibly even Diaz in this upcoming Copa, and I can get people like, oh, well, people already know about Diaz. People already know about him. I'm like, yeah, but people don't put the same. It's the same thing with Palmer. Palmer is certainly a what's the word I'm looking for? Palmer is certainly someone that has been noticed. People have definitely taken notice of Palmer, but I wouldn't say he's like looked at as being that. Oh, he should be starting, or he's that starter that is, or that he's that player that you automatically just sharpie in as being a starter for the club. Like Harry Kane.
Maybe his international breakout.
Yes,
maybe he's an international breakout, because he's had his breakout season in England without doubt.
Yeah.
Nearly 20 goals plus.
Right.
I think if Saka doesn't play, I think you'll play him. Maybe, but yeah, I really don't. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I'm only guessing it's England. So, but all the talk does seem to be that he will actually give Trent to go in midfield. So that's all I'd be really looking to see.
Yeah. I think that you can the weight of London, or the weight of Chelsea, the weight of the blue weight is one thing, but the weight of the country on your back can sometimes provide us a different amount of pressure. And that's why I was saying that you're right about he has made his breakout with Chelsea and in England particularly, but to do it on an international platform, international stage is a whole different ball of wax.
Well, I'll give you a perfect example, right? There are a whole lot of people who watch certain types of football or whatever, who would have been talking about Lamine Yassal all season, and then there'll be people who'll be watching him today that will have never seen him play before, and they'll be like, "Who the hell is this kid?" And he's 16 and he's starting at the Euros for Spain. Who's this guy? So if he has a good tournament, his profile, even though amongst football fans now everyone knows he's the next big wonder kid, if he goes and does it at the Euros, now everybody, even people who don't follow football, will be like, they'll know who he is.
Yeah, I was just about to tell Mark, but since you concluded quickly, I'll say Mark comment about Harvey should have gotten in ahead of Kobe Manhu, as he said. I'm actually not really excuse me. I'm really not that I'm not that disappointed that Harvey didn't make it in front of Kobe. Certainly, I get that it could have helped with his progression. It could help with his experience. It could help with his confidence, even. And obviously his own personal aspirations of playing for England, certainly are there for his nation. But Harvey could have. I think I like seeing Harvey get a little bit of a rest. Some of the players
to play for England, for the England first team.
Yeah,
senior team. He's got time on his side. Harvey, it'll come. I'm sure of that. Sure he will play for England, in tournaments as a senior.
Right. I think there will be a time for him. Yeah.
But oversimplistically, if he was a centre half, he's in the squad. It's just the position he plays in. It's the position he plays in.
Yeah, the midfield is pretty overloaded when it comes to England and their choices.
And these guys,
and he wasn't going to play. He wasn't going to play you know, Kobe is a player that sometimes I think Southgate is at times playing him, trying to play him a little bit deeper at times, but I don't think that this midfield is structured for Harvey to really get a real shout to be a part of it.
No, and they give these guys a lot of stick, and you've got 2 weeks to win a tournament.
Yeah.
You don't have time to get involved in what's best for players. You have time to get involved in how we going to win this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So they get a lot of stick, these managers, but they have to make some of the harshest calls. I mean, he dropped he dropped Grealish.
Yeah.
You know, he made big calls. He didn't just drop Elliot Jones. He dropped big players. Harry Maguire, you're out. Grealish, you're out. You know, so it is really, really difficult. You know, I was only watching a video earlier on, like sort of a video about great players who had no international caps. So it was kind of going back to the day when there was less games and that. But the amount of, like, some of the players that have never won international caps. So someone like Harvey Elliott, it takes a man who just likes his particular skill set. Because there are probably 3 or 4, like Jones, you know.
Mm-hmm. There could have been an argument for Jones,
yeah.
If his form hadn't dipped towards the end of the season, I think there would have been a loud shout for Curtis.
Well, he made whatchamacallit, he made the kind of
provisional team,
provisional, exactly, the provisional squad. He made that. Harvey didn't even get a call. Like.
Yeah.
Thing with Harvey is, like, is how far up the pitch you play him to get the best out of him. What is just going to be his, like, position that he's going to play him for him if he gets into the first team, like. But that's going to be a couple of years down the line. That's going to be like 2 or 3 years down the line, I think, with Harvey, when some of these.
Yeah. Oh, you're not starting in this. I think that I personally think that they're going to come out in the 4-2-3-1. I think that they're going to possibly play Trent in that pivot with Declan, and I also think that this is my personal opinion, at least. I think that the front three, or not the front three, but the three in the 4-2-3-1 will be Foden. You'll have Bellingham, Jude in the middle, and you'll have obviously fitness counts. But if he is fit to play, you'll have Saka on the right. And what you said earlier about Elliot, both of you, what you said earlier, I think applies to reason why Elliot isn't going to be a part of this, at least at this stage, a part of this squad, is that if you do go with that kind of formation, there's no way that you're starting Elliot over Saka, most likely, unless Saka's injured. You know, that's just
or Foden after him.
And especially and definitely not Foden, right? Yeah, if those are your 2 wing options, I'll let you chime in.
He's much more senior than them. They've got much more experience. But a few years down the line, like, he'll be a different player, hopefully, like a more experienced player with more.
You never, you never know if it ends up being like, I mean, there's no way that he's at this stage of their careers or their development. I don't think, unfortunately, that Elliot can be a shout to start in front of any of those 3 players I just mentioned. You know, and I think I think that there's enough pressure on Southgate's back. If he were to start Elliot over, Saka, or he were to start Elliot over Jude, or start him over Foden, he would never hear the end of that. That's something that's heat that I think that he doesn't want to take.
It'd be funny if he started him over Foden and Foden pulled that stupid face on that gets on my nerves. When he wants the ref to give him a decision, he puts his hands on his head.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a question by Norm asking, who will we sign this window, if anyone? We did a show where we all got to pick and got to basically. I know Brian was the captain of the Mighty Reds army out there, but I did my own version of it as well. I do think that we will see a few outgoings, obviously, but that will inevitably create some space on this roster for some incomings. I do see us getting some players this summer. I think that we are going to bring in around. Initially I was called kind of. I remember in the beginning of the year, I was seen as being conservative by saying that we're going to get 3, if not 4 players. Excuse me. We were going to get 3, if not 4 players that we were going to bring in. I know the number that we got, that you guys came up by committee with, was about, I think, 4 players you guys had, I think, going out. Wasn't around there?
Oh, with the thing with it seemed like, yeah, I think we sold 4. Yeah, probably. Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, about 4. And I think like for myself, it was about 4. I think it's about 4 players. And like on the fence, 5th, if we could figure out like expenses in the sense of what the transfer and the budget and everything else, because we did a pretty cool. I think we did a more comprehensive approach towards it, whereas it wasn't just, oh, let's just figure out the transfer numbers and just make and transfer the players that way. We actually did apply their salaries to make sure that we had salaries to bring in. I have even adjusted my frame of thinking in contemplating. We just might, if the market is in our favor, okay, I think that we could possibly bring in 2 center backs, or center halves, as you guys call them, this break. And if we do, we most certainly will be 5. I'd have to adjust my ins and outs to 5 players. But if we do go bring in, I would like to see us bring in this Lenny Yoro player. He's a definite a promising and young, promising center back that has some experience. It could be a really, really coveted position to fill, being that we have Kwanzaa at that young age stage of his career as well, but certainly looking like having a promising future. And there is another player that I have been recently keeping my eye on, and he plays for Roma. His name is I'm going to mess up his name pronouncing it. Husan. He's he's a Roma player, but he was on loan at Juventus. Do you know the player I'm speaking on by any chance?
No.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Husan? Does he have a second name? Husan is there?
No, that's his last name. Let me get his full. I'll get it up the full stats for you here.
Just a name, if you can help me with the first name.
Yeah. Give me 1 second here. Let me pull up his all his stats and such.
Like the way I see it, to answer Norm's question, and I kind of recalibrated my thinking for this season and last season in terms of not getting bogged down in names, because names will come and go.
Yeah,
I
think
as an example, last season everybody was losing their mind about the fact that we weren't going to sign Thuram and Kone, and everyone was doing like videos about Thuram and Kone. And we didn't sign Thuram or Kone. And we brought 3 brilliant midfielders. We brought in Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Endo. And
the amount of midfielders we were linked to last summer, And in the
So
league,
I just say positions. I think I'm with you. We're definitely going to bring in a centre half. Don't ask me who. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I'm not going to get into the names thing because I have no idea. But definitely we will sign. Like Anna's saying, will we sign? Or Norman saying, if anyone, but who? Definitely, I couldn't tell you who. But I would put the mortgage on us signing at least one centre half, and if everything goes the way we want it to, definitely, almost certainly, definitely a DM. And if we have to do other things, potentially a left back and another centre half. I think we might. I think we will lose Simicas. I think we've lost Matip. So I think for me, the bare minimum that we will do is we will bring in a centre half and we will bring in a DM who's in that more like 24, 25 age range.
look,
That to me, I
losing
think, is the bare minimum we'll do.
losing Joel Matip, we've got to replace him with somebody who is equally as good as Matip when Matip was at his best. And when Matip was at his best, he was very, very good. So we need an experienced centre half to replace Joel, who can be Virgil's. To be honest, I'd be buying someone to be Virgil's partner. If Ibu can get his fitness stuff together, he can
me
play.
too.
Jarell can play a few games, and there we've got it. 4 players. If Joe needs to step in, if we have an injury crisis at centre back, we've got Joe. But I want a good, experienced player to replace Joel Matip, who's about as good as Matip was at his best. So your best Matip replaced by a centre half who's your best Matip. And it's not easy because Matip was a good player, but there must be someone we can buy out there, surely.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. They don't have to be
Let's not
an
forget
over the
Joe
hill
Matip.
guy.
Hey, Joe Matip was a free transfer, wasn't he?
He was a
Yep.
free transfer. He was.
Like
I
I'd
put the
love
name in. I put the name in there for you, Brian. I don't know if you see it or
Dean
not.
Hyson. Dean Hyson. Wow, that's a bit of a weird name.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's a Spanish. He's Spanish by nationality. I don't
Never
think
heard of him.
that's. I don't know if that's a Spanish name.
No,
Dean
Um,
isn't, and
not in
Hyson
the
isn't
least.
either.
Is that
So
a Spanish name?
no,
Hyson.
but
Like
but
that.
neither of those names are the same language. Dean is an English surname,
mhm.
our given name, and Hyson is obviously, well, I would guess Scandinavian or
Dean not
Nordic.
Irish. I
It
thought
does look
Dean
like
was an Irish name.
No, no.
Sure.
Dean as a first name is a very
Mhm.
modern first name. Dean is sort of so yeah. God knows where that guy's from. He could probably play for about 7
Well,
different nationalities, I guess.
yeah.
Never heard of him. No, but as a player, never heard of him, man.
Mhm.
So yeah, good shout. New guy, never heard of
He's
him.
well, he is currently his market value on transfer market is 10 million euros. He is a 19-year-old. He is
Oh,
he
19. Oh,
played for
okay.
Roma. He's the player for Roma, but played for Juventus last season. Was on loan at Juventus. Um, one of the reasons why I think we could see him, because I believe that they're offering him for around 20 to 25 million pounds is what the price tag is that Roma is looking to acquire for him.
Wait, so do Juve own him or so Roma own him and he was on loan
Roma
at
has the
Juve?
rights to him. Roma has the rights to him.
Did he play for Juve at all?
He did play for Juve. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weird.
He got caps with Juve and
Italian football is weird, man.
well, one of the reasons why I started looking at this player even more intensely is because Jaime Moreno was his coach at Roma, and he Mourinho, I'll put the exact quote is Mourinho dubbed him as one of the brightest prospects in Europe. One of the brightest prospects in Europe.
Javi Mourinho. You mean Jose Mourinho?
Yes, Mourinho. That's him.
Never heard of the guy. This is weird. Dean Hyson. Okay, yeah. Okay. 20 million on Chiesa, or can you get Chiesa for 20 million?
Yeah,
No way
I
you're
mean,
getting Chiesa for 20 million, man.
no way.
Is
I
that
don't
like
think it's.
some buyout or something?
Yeah, I don't think that. Yeah, K-Mac, he was on loan at Roma, but
No chance you're getting
no,
Chiesa
he
for 20
wasn't.
million.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah,
Doesn't sound right, does it?
it's the other way around, K-Mac, but it's okay.
Is he? Daryl is saying, is there some kind of clause? That's what I was asking. Is there some kind of like last season buyout clause? Because if you can get him for 20 million quid,
Mhm.
Jesus. Oh, he only has a year left.
Or no, he's
Yeah.
right. Excuse me. You're right. You're right. Yeah,
If he's not, if he
no, you're
only
right.
has a
Excuse
year
me. It was
left
the
and
other
he's
way. It
not
is the other
signing,
way. K-Mac, my apologies. You are right. My apologies. He is right. He's a Juve player that was playing for Roma, and that's why Jose gave. That's why they credit Jose for saying what he said.
Yeah.
He did play for. Yes, he did play for
Yeah.
at Roma, and he actually when he was on loan, he actually became a regular for him as well. He became a regular for him at Roma. For a 19-year-old to become, a regular starter, and then have that praised by Jose, that's big. That's a definitely some high praise. Why I'm thinking that is that for basically, I could see, or I would like to see us spend about 75 million pounds for two and bring in two very promising center backs, and have a center back core of like creating in essence where you have Konate be that partner for Virgil,
I just
but
have the faith that
but
Konate's going to be fit enough to partner Virgil next season
oh,
for any
I
more
can
than
understand that.
10
Yeah,
games
I can
maximum
understand
in
that.
the Premier League. And there's 38 games in the Premier League. He's liable to miss 28 of 38 games, Ibu, given his previous stats.
Yeah.
So, you can't be having a centre half as your main choice who's going to spend a quarter of each season fit.
No.
Mm-hmm.
It's a non-starter. Mm-hmm. We need a replacement, I'd say.
Yeah, no, I'd be all up for buying two, but one of them needs to be. For me, I'd want one of them to be.
You want one that's veteran
20,
status.
well, not veteran. Jesus, no, not veteran, but veteran by FSG standards, which will be 24.
Yeah, the
so
under
like
25.
we can buy one up and coming teenager, like a Yarrow. That's great, but I also need I want a Bastone. I want for the big. That's so I want someone that's going to walk in straight. Finished article type, and then another kid. So you got like basically, Kanade can deal with it or win his place back, and then you got a Yarrow, Kwanzaa, both 19, both ready to come up behind them. The only thing with Chiesa, like when I say I buy Chiesa every day of the week, but I wouldn't buy Chiesa because I only have one basic rule when it comes to transfers in football, and that is never ever buy Italian. If you're an English club that isn't in London, do not buy an Italian player because it will not work. Italian players do not want to leave Italy. The only Italian players that have ever succeeded in England went to London. Ravanelli left after a season in Middlesbrough. He was a special case. But the only ones that succeed are older players who are worldly in their outlook. Zola and Vialli, they went to London. They were people who Italian players never want to leave Italy. If you ever met an Italian person, they'll tell you that Italy is the best country in the world, and they never want to leave it. It has the best weather, the best food, the best women, the best football, the best looking men.
In their opinion.
In their opinion, it has the best everything.
Right.
So every other country they go to is like it's not as good as home. And if you were to any club in Italy was to pay them as much as they're getting offered in England, they would never leave. They never settle in England, especially in the north of England. They just don't. They just do not. So they are a massive, massive. Well, I was going to say massive gamble, as Newcastle found out. But I wouldn't have meant that pun. That pun definitely would have been unintended. But yeah, you just don't buy Italian. Don't. Do not buy Italian players. Not for big
By the-
money.
By the way,
Chiesa for 20 million though. Just to finish on that, Chiesa for if you told me you get Chiesa for 20 million quid, I'd
do it
still
every
take
day.
that gamble.
Look,
I'd
his
still
dad
take
for
that gamble.
Parma in Italy. The old Chiesa for Parma in Italy.
His
He
dad,
was
yeah.
boss him, the striker, yeah. Parma,
Yeah.
Italy. Parma were brilliant years ago on Italian Channel 4,
Yeah.
on Italian footy on Channel 4 with James Richardson. We were talking about it, weren't we, last night? Or you were, Brian. The Italian football, when it about Gascoigne, that was it, about when Gascoigne, when it was first new.
He did the intros and all that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Italian football from the 90s, man. That's basically football peak. That's
the
peak
presenter
football.
was very slick. James Richardson, wasn't he? Very metropolitan, urbane, erudite
he made it
to be hosting the show.
Much like yourself, Lee. Very much like yourself.
I was just going to add
iconic
earlier player that I mentioned, Dean, is originally that's a Dutch name. It's a Dutch name that his last name is Dutch.
Yeah.
Because he was born in Amsterdam and moved to Spain at the age of 5, but he has citizenship in Spain. So that's just a little. But what's unique about Dean is that he's also 6'5". So
big lad.
He's only 19 years old and at 6'5". That is not bad to hear. It's a concerted effort to certainly
it's a hell of a growth spurt.
Create some height in the middle if we do go for Dean, or even if we do go for Euro. Excuse me. Who is also very, very tall as well.
I wouldn't mind this.
I don't know what that is in centimeters, but
I don't mind just buying a younger centre off as well as an experienced one, but I'm not having it if all we buy is a young centre off who's got potential for the future. No, we want it now, mate. We want an experienced one.
We have one of them.
We want it now.
Yeah.
To replace
we have one of them.
Who was
we
one.
Have to, Kwanzaa. We have one of them. Like, why is Yarrow better than Kwanzaa? Why are people just assuming that Yarrow is better than Kwanzaa because he doesn't play for Liverpool and Real Madrid want him? So they're already assuming that he's just better than Kwanzaa. Okay, yeah, look, the guy is class, right? Everyone knows that. But isn't Jarrell Kwanzaa also brilliant? We already have one 19-year-old potentially world-class centre-half there.
Yeah, we got
so we don't need... Yeah, we need, I think, we need a replacement for Canade who can go into the team 24, 20... Experience, yes, but just experience in terms of games played or whatever. But just that kind of sweet spot, 24, 25, can start games and make the spot his own. And make us be the kind of club who are good enough to have a backup central defending pairing of Kwanzaa and Kanate and potentially Yarrow. Nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. That to me is a good place to be. It's not, we're getting rid of our players. No. We're upgrading our squad. Let's do that. Let's go out and put down big money. That's where I think that if you're saying to me there's a pot, right? I think the majority of the pot should be going in that direction. That's not, we don't need it up front as much as we'd all love to bring in a 25 goal a season striker or what, we'd all love that. But I think if we have a pot and you're saying to me, Brian, right, look, where are you going to put most of this money? I'm going to, right, most of it's going at the back, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Then DM. And we've got Diaz, we've got Nunes, we've got Gakpo, we've got
we can score goals.
Yeah, exactly.
Goals.
So Endo backup and Canada replacement. Get them done.
Well, it's massive
for 120.
Whoever comes in, Massive as a top level. When Massive was at his best, that's what I'm hoping that we buy when we buy someone who can be as good as Joel was at his best. And hopefully doesn't take forever and a day to settle into the Premier League. Joel settled in quite quickly, but he was injured again then. The new Massive has to be a non-injury one, like the old Massive. If we can have someone like Matip,
Yeah.
but not injured as much, because he got injured straight away when he come in, Matip, and then was out forever, and we only had bloody Lovren, and it was awful. And it was Lovren and Sacco we had at first, like, and it was awful. It was just a terrible partnership, like, for keeping clean sheets. But yeah, we need something spending on the defence there, because that's how you're going to win something, like, is by us tightening up. We've got the goals covered. We've got young players covered who are like up and coming. We've got that stuff. Now we need someone experienced in a couple of positions to come in and just blend right into what we've already got and just make us that little bit better, that little bit tougher to score against, that bit more durable, like, you know, so we can be the team that scores first more often than not.
Right. I still stand pat with look, I want players that want Liverpool, not, you know, like I get that there are players out there that we all personally would like to see put on a red kit, but I want to just make sure that these players want to be at Liverpool. I don't like having the idea that Liverpool is a lily pad, basically, for some of these players to try to get into bigger, in their minds, bigger or / better clubs. I want a player that looks at Liverpool and says,
do you mean Yarrow? Or are you talking about Yarrow in particular? Because that seems, I mean,
yes, especially even Euro, you know,
yeah,
just any of these players, bro. Like, as in, you know,
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that lily pad thing as long as we get the money we want. But like when Mascherano left, he'd been brilliant for us, but we got like nothing for him off stingy Barcelona, and he even had the cheek to come out and say some tyranny of the majority dog shit, similar sounding laughable nonsense. He come out and said it's unfair because Premier League clubs have got lots of money and we at Barcelona haven't got lots of money. Don't hold us to ransom and pay £10 million for them. It's like, you what? You've got loads of money. They haven't now, but they did then when they bought Mascherano in 2010. Yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah.
You've got lots of money. We haven't got a lot of money at Barcelona. We're skint. It's like, you what? You lying gat.
We got 17.
He said it was tight on Mascherano because he wanted his dreams to go to Barcelona, and it was tight of us not to let him go for 10 million.
We got 17 million for me. We got 17 million for Mascherano.
We got screwed.
But he was worth 27. But he was worth 20. No, I'm with you. Like, he was worth 27.
Do you remember the
We
Barcelona
got 17, but he was worth 27.
Yeah, the Barcelona press release castigating Liverpool for shattering poor Javier Mascherano's dreams and insisting on the fee that they set instead of one that was set for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like, you do that all the time in Spanish football. Are you taking the piss?
Right.
Yeah. Like I don't think we're. Yeah, I'm obviously, look, I don't want anyone who doesn't want to be at the club. I'm also with Lee in terms of, like, I fully understand that if we buy a player who's 22 and he's at the club for 5 years and it's always been his dream to go and play for one of those clubs, that's not going to put me off either. But yeah, you don't want someone who's coming in, like, say, and this isn't me having a go with somebody, but like Kudus at West Ham, who I saw that definitely joined them with a view to having a good season and immediately leaving as quickly. You know, once, turn up at West Ham going, right, look at the season I just put in for you, absolute fucking banger season. You know, look, everyone wants me, let me go.
Yeah.
You know, I'm too big for you, I'm off. You do not want that. But we're too big to get that. That's not going to happen to us.
Mate,
it's very, very rarely. Yeah, very rarely someone comes to us.
It was just a fee. Because Mascherano had done his stint here. Rafa was leaving, and I think Mascherano knew that. And he'd done his stint here, but the fee was just miserly from Barcelona. And for them to come out and say we were holding them to ransom and shattering Mascherano's dreams. I mean, talk about hypocritical. To hear that from Barcelona or Real Madrid, You've got loads of money, we haven't. It wasn't said in those exact words, but that's what the man said in plain language.
Well, it's their trick card.
To ask for what we asked for.
But it's their trick card. It's like what we speak about so often on this channel is the link, the dream, of the South American players is Real Madrid and Barcelona, if they can get there. So Barcelona always, it's a card they play. Like back then, that was a big. It's like, oh, you're spoiling his dreams. How can you spoil his dreams?
Yeah,
that was the card they were playing. Yeah, it's his dream to play for us, and big bad Liverpool are spoiling his dream because they have that card in their back pocket.
Inflated inflated fees.
Yeah, don't.
These inflated fees. No good. Basically, I can't remember the exact language they used, but it was laughable. The language they used. You know, when you read it, you went.
Yeah, just anybody at home, don't try and inflate a flea. That will not work well.
No, that's not advised. No. Big up, by the way, to Callum the Red. Big up to Ant joining us as well.
Ant is in.
Yeah, we're going to land this here, and we're going to land this plane and allow for everyone to go on to their fond destinations. But I'm going to tell you tomorrow, though, most likely we will be. Let me double check. What time is the game for tomorrow? I think it's 12 o'clock start for me, but for England, what time's the England game tomorrow?
Oh, they play at 8 UK time. No, they play at 8 o'clock UK time.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought it'd be a Sunday, the day of rest and all that jazz like that. It might be a daytime one.
So tomorrow we'll either, I don't know if we're going to do a watch along or anything, but we most likely will do a show right at the conclusion, at least, of the England and Serbian matchup. Kind of give our perspectives. I'm sure most of us will watch that match tomorrow. And we'll go into what is it? He is not
getting that reference, Mark. He is not getting that reference.
Yeah. Big up, Pinto, by the way. Big up. We're going to be going live tomorrow after the England-Serbian matchup. We'll kind of give our insights on the match and the game, and obviously a highlighted view on the Liverpool players that do get to play tomorrow. And I guess is there anything that you want to say to the people before we allow for them to go on? Do you want to say anything, Lee?
No, thanks everyone.
Okay, that's short and sweet. Irishman?
No. Just take care. Have a good evening. But a lot of people coming in there at the end that are just coming in. So hello to people that just came in.
Right.
Anton Pinto and someone else I missed that I want to say hello to. But
Pinto,
we'll see you all.
Callum the Red just came in too.
Callum, yeah. We'll see you all tomorrow for. Yeah, I don't know if you're into England. But
it won't be just on England tomorrow. We'll get into other Liverpool topics, but we'll certainly have a little bit. That's the only football that I'm certain that a lot of people will probably be willing or probably interested in talking about, especially if England.
We'll have a general international flavour, is the one, isn't it? Like not just merry old England. We'll have other flavours of international whimsy for the subscribers, won't we? Tomorrow.
One of those Four Seasons pizzas, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll even have K-Mac. I know K-Mac wanted to come in and contribute, but it was just we were going to be ending the stream here, so that's the only reason why I couldn't get K-Mac the link to hop on. We'll get him. I'll either get the info from him directly and give him credit tomorrow, or get him on. Hopefully, if he has time tomorrow, I can send him the update tomorrow. Callum has England winning 3-1. Real quick, you want to give score predictions? I don't think we got score predictions from you guys for tomorrow. Real quick, Lee, score prediction.
2-1.
Okay, Irishman.
Don't forget Monday night quiz night. Don't forget Monday night quiz
Oh
night.
no, I'll be plugging that all day tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'll be plugging it.
and I will go 2-1 England.
Oh, everyone's going 2-1. Okay, all right. I have it actually 2-2. I'm gonna have a draw tomorrow. So, what's that?
An extra goal.
Desmond,
One more than me
2-2.
and Brian.
Yeah. 2-2.
Desmond 2-2. Yeah.
Desmond 2-2. There you go.
Yeah.
But again, people out there, please do make sure that you. Oh, Bernie said 2-1 England. I got you, Bernie. Bernie. I do hope that everyone concentrates on their mental health and physical health. It's important aspects of your life to have those under control. If you can't, definitely reach out towards for professional help. But always know that as Reds, you never walk alone. So you are never alone in this battle or fight in any adversity that you go through. So I wanted to make sure that you do remember that we will be having that quiz on Monday, the mastermind, the mastermind quiz there, and we also hopefully we'll have confirmation. We're still waiting on confirmation from our last contestant, but we do have a backup just in case that contestant won't be able to participate. Therefore, we regardless will be having the quiz on Monday. So again, you'll see the update. We'll probably get the thumbnail out by the end of today at some point, if not early in the morning tomorrow. Hopefully Lee will be here tomorrow. Irishman will be here tomorrow. Maybe K-Mac. I certainly will be here. Hopefully you will be here tomorrow. And as we always end our episodes, I finally say, up the Reds. Peace.